Hello, and welcome to Storytime with Mr. C. This is day 2, where I took a crowd suggestion. Someone, Mr. Nachie Green, said I should read a book with a female protagonist, and Miss Bergner posted a picture of one today, and I found it at the school library. It's called Ada Twist Scientist by Andrea Beaty. Rosie, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Rosie likes to see the picture, so she has to sit on the other side of the camera. Ada Twist, scientist. Ada Marie said not a word till the day she turned 3. She bounced in her crib and looked all around, observing the world, but not making a sound. She learned how to climb and made her big break with a big trail of chaos all left in her wake. She ran through the day chasing each sound in sight, didn't slow down till she conked out at night. That's what conked out means, is to fall asleep. Her parents were frazzled but tried not to freak as Ada grew bigger and still did not speak. Clearly young Ada with lots in her head would add something to say when it ought to be said. Parents are scared because she's not talking. That's just what happened when Ada turned 3. She tore through the house on a fact-finding spree. She climbed up the clock just as high as she could. Her parents yelled, "Stop!" as all good parents would. Ada's chin quivered, but she did not cry. She took a deep breath and she simply asked, "Why? Why do you think she should stop? She's gonna hurt herself." But that's the first word she said was why. Why does it tick and why does it talk? Why don't we call it a granddaughter clock? Why are these pointy things stuck to a rose? Why are there hairs up inside of your nose? Ew, look. Nose hairs. She started with why and then what, how, and when. By bedtime, she came back to why once again. She drifted to sleep as her dazed parents smiled at the curious thoughts of their curious child who wanted to know what the world was about. They kissed her and whispered, "You'll figure it out." Look, they're happy she's talking now. She's got a lot of questions. Her parents kept up with their high-flying kid, whose questions and chaos both grew as she did. The older she gets, the more questions she's asking. Whoa. She's very curious. Even Miss Greer found her hands were quite full when young Ada's chaos wreaked havoc at skull. They tried to rhyme full with skull. I don't know about that. But this much was clear about Miss Ada Twist. She had all the traits of a great scientist. Whoa, look what she did.
She's brain stuff.
Yeah, she blew up all those bottles.
Yeah,
She did the Mentos thing.
At her teacher.
Yes, her teacher doesn't... If I were a teacher, some teachers would find it hard to be happy in a situation like that. Though there is a silver lining. Ada was busy that first day of spring, testing the sounds that make mockingbirds sing, when a horrible stench racked her right in the nose, a pungent aroma that curled up her toes. "Zowie!" said Ada, which got her to thinking, what is the source of that terrible stinking? How does a nose know there's something to smell? And does it still stink if there's no nose to tell? She rattled off questions and tapped on her chin. She started at start where she ought to begin. A mystery, a riddle, a puzzle, a quest. This was the moment that Ada loved best. She likes to ask questions. So that was like her favorite part. Was at the beginning when she was like, "Oh man,
We're gonna read
what is
lots
this?"
of books, right?
Yep, we're going to read tons of books. Ada did research to learn all she could of smelling and smells both the stinky and good. One hypothesis Ada thought could be true. The terrible stink came from Dad's cabbage stew. She tested and tested, but soon Ada knew it was time to come up with hypothesis 2. Ooh, science words. Hypothesis is like a good guess. Ooh, look. Then zowie! The stink struck again, just like that. Hypothesis 2. It's caused by the cat. The cat couldn't make such a stink on its own. It needed perfume and some fancy cologne. So young Ada tested. The test was a flop. She started again, but her parents yelled, "Stop!"
She shouldn't put the cat in the
Oh
washing
no.
machine.
She should not put the cat in the washing machine. Ada Marie, to the thinking chair now by the time we count 3. Enough, said her mother. That's it, said her dad. Her parents were frustrated, frazzled, and mad. Why? Ada questioned. Her mother said, no. What? Ada queried. Her father said, go. You've ruined our supper. You've made the cat stink. Enough with your questions. Now sit there and think. She looked at her parents. Her heart turned to goo. Poor Ada Twist didn't know what to do. Ooh, her parents are mad at her.
And her brother.
Well, they're mostly... Oh, her brother's mad at her too, yeah. She sat all alone by herself in the hall, and Ada once more could say nothing at all. And so Ada sat, and she sat, and she sat, and she sat, thought... Oh, no, sorry, I'm going to start that again. And so Ada sat, and she sat, and she sat, and she thought about science and Stu and the cat and how her experiments made such a mess. Does it have to be so? Is that part of success? Are messes a problem? And while she was thinking, what was the source of that terrible stinking? Ada Marie did what scientists do. She asked a small question, and then she asked 2. And each of those led her to 3 questions more. And some of those questions resulted in 4. And Ada got thinking. She really dug in. She scribbled her questions and tapped on her chin. She started at why, and then what, how, and when. At the end of the hall, she reached why once again. Uh-oh, she's getting going again.
And her cat sat the back of the table.
Oh, yeah. Her parents calmed down, and they came back to talk. They looked at the hallway and just had to gawk. No patch of bare paint could be seen on the wall. The thinking chair now was the great thinking hall. They watched their young daughter and sighed as they did. What would they do with this curious kid who wanted to know what the world was about? They smiled and whispered, "We'll figure it out." Wow. I would have a hard time being that calm if my daughter had written all over the walls like that. Some parents are more patient than others, I guess. And that's what they did, because that's what you do when your kid has a question and heart that is true. They remade their world. Now they're all in the act of helping young Ada sort fiction from fact. She asked lots of questions. How could she resist? It's all in the heart of a young scientist. Ah, they're helping her be a scientist. And as for that smell, what can Ada Twist do but learn all she can with her friends in grade 2? Will they discover the stink that curls toes? Well, that is the question. And someday, who knows? The end. Ooh, that's the first time I ever read that book. Did you like it? What was your favorite part? You did? You liked the whole book? I liked the rhyme scheme. I'm a Seuss rhyme schemer, so I liked this book. It was good. What did you guys think? Did you like it? All right, me and Rosie are going to try and read a book every day, so come back and see what we're reading tomorrow. Say bye, Rosie.